Hello guys, my name is Deathcake and Act 2 and Act 3 Radiant, and I'm gonna be teaching you some tips and tricks that will help improve your gameplay. Alright guys, I'm gonna be showing the correct and only way to play Cypher on B. If you do it any other way than this, you're doing it wrong. So, right now, you start off with this. It's the one-way smoke, and this is basically gonna be in every single setup that you play as Cypher on Split. It's up here at the wooden crack thingy here, and you just Q, throw a lot of them up there. Number 2 is the trap. You place one trap there. So, you don't really need anything else, but there's gonna be some variances into like how you're gonna be playing this, and I'll go through that right now. Alright, go up here. Like one of the setups would be this. One cage here, wire. And camera up here. But you don't even play the site. Most of the times the Cypher, if you're actually playing the site, you're probably doing something wrong, because you don't really need to. It's so much better for your team. Like a normal setup without Cypher would be like
here.
1 1
here.
1 1
here.
right? And you can already see how like weak this setup can be, because you're usually reliant on like one player, and if he falls, he's already like put so much pressure for you guys to try to defend. It's really hard. So what you do is, if you don't need to hold B, you can hold mid. Then you suddenly have 2 here, 1 here. So that's like 3 people challenging mid, and then the standard 2 on A with the guy in mid vents for fast rotate. So now already you can see how much better the setup is going to be. The reason you don't really need to be holding this is that number 1, you have the camera up here. So as soon as you see someone and you're playing from heaven, what you can do is
Cage
pop the
triggered.
cage. If you pop the cage, they're going to be afraid to run, and at that time your teammate, you can rotate down. So one of the other guys can just pop up here, and you can drop down and try and challenge. And I mean, the cage is a few seconds long, so you can always get into position and hold, try to get something. So you don't really need to be holding it from downside. You can just see how much time and like space you're wasting if you're gonna be holding like this, because the enemy team don't really like rushing Cyphers in any rank game. Doesn't matter the elo, especially in lower elo, they will never challenge you as a Cypher. So you would be wasting 90% of your defender time on doing nothing. So don't play it. Just have the wire there, and the worst case scenario, if they break the wire, you still have the camera. And when they finally do break the camera, then you can consider getting into a position and figuring out what you want to do from there. If you want to drop, or if you want to do something else. So, all right, think of the Cypher setup as a 3-way defense. So as you're holding up from here, like you normally would with the setup that you set up here, you would have like the wires, the cage, and then the camera. So while you have all these 3, you have 3-way defense, which means that you don't really need to be playing anywhere close to the entrance. If they break the wire, then you still have the camera and you still have the cage. So you can always cam and see if they're close, and if they are, they will break this camera. And at that point, you only have 1 defense left, which is going to be the cage. And at that point, you should consider dropping down to protect what's left of the site. You can always pop the cage just to get into better position, and once the cage is gone, that means you have nothing left, and then your defense is really weak. So just think about it like that. If you have 3 defenses up, you can play away from the site. If you have 2 defenses up, you're still fine. If you only got 1 left, you need to consider backing down and retaking the site before they push in. So if they push heaven, what you'll do, cage, get into position. The position I play a lot is this one here. I mean, people never expect this spot. You play here, what they're gonna do is they're gonna go from heaven, and they're gonna cross above the on the top of tower. They'll cross your aim, and you can just collect headshots from here. They usually never peek this angle, and the reason they never peek this angle is because you'll have another teammate with you who's they're gonna be looking to trade, and when they run here, your little head is gonna be sticking out here, and basically screwing everyone over that tries to defy you. So this is number 1. These wires can be shuffled into whatever you desire. You can put them like that, you can put them here. The main part, just have a cage somewhere here, to stall.
Cage triggered.
Like if they push up, you got something that'll slow them down, and your team can actually rotate. Because the main thing, as you know, as a Cypher, is stalling for as long as you can until your team can help you and react to stop their push. So, you put that one there. And you'll play from somewhere here. Another fun spot that you can play is also this one here. This one is a little bit more high risk, but it's still pretty nice. If you hold it decently away from the entrance here, you can place your crosshair here, and they'll usually run into it. You can get one kill, and if you do, you just drop down, pop the cage, and then run away. And now you've done what you're supposed to. You can run away, hold down here. If they run up here, you'll hear it as they pop through the cage. So usually they'll drop down, and you can just collect headshots from there. Yeah. You can also, like, because you're only playing normally like one wire on B, you can also put the one in mid vents, which will help your teammates a lot in case they're pushing heaven. So if you have that one there, the enemy team, if they decide to go through into mid vents, you will already have the information, let your team know, and you can react accordingly to that. So also, beginning of every round, you need to also know what you're going to be playing against. What kind of characters are you playing against? Do they have a Jet? Do they have a Killjoy? Or do they have a Sage? Like, these are the three ones that will probably cause you the most problems. But I'm going to be showing you how to deal with every single thing they can throw at you, and you'll be fine for your next games. Number one, Killjoy likes to place their ultimate right there. And what this will do, it'll create a field of... basically field of death, which will stop all of you in your tracks. And if you look at the look at my ring on the radar, you can see how far it'll reach. It's kind of this distance, so you can see that the B back is not going to be affected by it. What that means, if you know the Killjoy has an ulti, you'll check at the beginning of every round. Ultimate ready. They might ulti me. So what you do, run in the corner and you wait. If they have a raise, which is usually comboed with this Killjoy ultimate, they will throw the grenade all the way into B back to try and catch you out. But the good thing is the range of the grenade isn't really far. So what you'll do is you'll just stay here. If he throws a grenade, you go all the way to the corner here, and it will take maybe around 30 to 40 damage at maximum, which is fine because as soon as they start pushing out, you will open the cage of death and shred everyone that walks in. This will usually give you 2 or 3 kills, and they won't be able to push through. If they do push through, they are most likely dead. At this time, you will have stopped their Killjoy onslaught, and you can prepare for the next round because they won't be able to do anything from there. Number 2 thing you'll deal with is the Jet Dash, the infamous. What he will do normally is he'll come here with his teammate running behind him in a march of death. They'll come up and he'll turn and he'll do the dash straight up here, and he'll land about somewhere here, which is very convenient because you can just place a trap here and have a cage here. So if they do that a lot, and you know they've been doing it, trying to abuse the fact that you've been playing B Raptors all the game, and they're like, yeah, he doesn't even play B, let's get him. You can do this once in a while just to keep them thinking. He'll dash through. You can be playing either up here or on B back. On this cage. And if he runs through, you kill him. Plus, it'll also slow them down. Like, if you put this, like, let me just put it in perspective. The first one, as he's dashing and you hear them running, you pop that one. You try to get him as he's dashing through. If you don't do that, you can pop that one. And if he runs through that one, you will guaranteed kill him because he has to take out the trap first. So, Jet denied. What do we have next? We will have, what did I say? Killjoy, Jet, and the Sage. So, yeah. And number 3 hero that will cause you some problems is Sage. And the only reason that is because he'll wall off this area. If he walls off this area, it's going to be harder for you to hold from anywhere around here, which you normally don't do. But it'll also stop you from playing up here. But not really. Because if he decides to walk up here and they don't have a Jet, for example, but most of the times they will. But if they don't, and they're going to go for some walking Sage move with the wall, what you'll do is, as you have the camera up here and you'll spot them, you'll shoot them in the leg and you'll be like, boom. And they're like, oh fuck, we gotta move. You pop the cage.
Cage triggered.
Nobody in their right mind will walk through that. Because even though he puts up the wall, he'll be afraid to walk through because they don't know where you're playing. If you're playing close here, you'll kill them. If you're playing B back, you'll kill them. If you're playing on B side, you will kill them. So they will have to wait for the cage. In that time, you just drop down, get into position, and get ready to take on the rush. And now, if you're wondering how to play on A as a Cypher, the short answer is just don't do it. It's horrible. It's way harder to hold it, and you're not doing as much good work as you can on B. Reason for that is you have too many choke points. You can maybe hold that one, but then they can go up here and behind you, and you won't be able to put as much pressure on the attackers. You won't be able to like shut them down. It takes one person on B to shut down B. It'll take at least two on A. So like if you can just shut all of this side on B side on your own and just play from heaven, boy, it'll be so easy to deal with the mid rush and A, because they have to deal with so many more players than normally they would have. All right, and then there are some bonus tricks and stuff that I like to do to help me win the game with some cool and clever plays. Number one thing you should be doing sometimes is doing an aggro camera. You take the cam early in the round and you just pop it here and get information. Sometimes it's decent to actually sacrifice the camera, but usually if you're gonna do it, you have to be playing close. You cannot be playing from rafters because you don't have the camera on the wall to tag them if they push up. So what that means, you will put the camera here. If they break it, you just go back into position, playing off of your cage up here and the trap that you have. And then if it does that, push through, you just cage and try to get some kills. If you already have the cage open, then you're going to be having a harder time. But try to get them to walk further up in here and before popping the cage, just so you can guarantee a kill from it. Anyway, if they are not here, then you can just go back into heaven, do the same thing we talked about, play from here, and problem solved. Or in some cases, you can also push up. If you have played a few rounds, let's say like 5 rounds, you have never pushed up, you haven't even peeked this corner, then you can just walk up here. Sometimes they'll have a turret somewhere here. I have done this before and it has worked to some extent, and that is actually throwing cages out to block the camera if I still have them, if I've decided to do this play. And you can actually walk past them and behind, considering they don't hear the cages. But they're playing somewhere around here, they will not hear it. It's a funny and sneaky play, but it doesn't have a very high success ratio. But if it does work, it's really funny and you'll have a good laugh with your friends. And number 2, what I like to do is sometimes when they're doing a lot of jet dashes, and especially if it works, the problem with it is, like, if they're going to be doing jet dash, you need to play the anti-wires early on. You want to shut them down once and then they will never come again. So, but if they're doing it a lot and you maybe failed one round where they got the B side easily, what is a really good play to do is actually play this angle here. Because what this does is that when the jet likes to run up, he will come from here, sometimes with a knife. Many times you'll see them just run up with a knife. But if he does run up here, you will peek something like this, because he's so determined on jetting in and getting that kill that he'll run through this corner. And as you see him run up, guess where you are? Ready to decapitate him. The best part about this angle is he doesn't actually cross it, he actually goes up here and runs forward. So you can just kill him, and as you do that, you just stop, and get your ass out of there into better cover, and then you just repeat.